Welcome to Rated Radio, the show where artists and albums are pitted against each other while their songs get rated on a scale of 0 to 10. I'm your host, Shane Wyndham, and this is the Bone Thugs and Harmony Deep Dive. Hope you're ready for a fight. As is always the case, I picked two of these albums, and then one was randomly rolled. So we will start with the first two albums that I picked. First up was The Art of War from 1997. This double disc was my top album. Of the 28 tracks, I thought 11 were great, and none of them got a flawless rating though. I did top and bottom track for each disc, so bottom tracks for each disc, Hard Times, and You Ain't Bone. Top tracks, Clog Up Your Mind, and Hatin' Nation. The music makes me feel like I'm watching the Warriors movie if directed by Tupac and Boyz II Men. Next album will be Uni-5, The World's Enemy from 2010. This was my bottom album. Of the 14 tracks, I still thought 4 were great. None of those got a flawless rating though. My bottom track was The Law intro, and my top track was most definitely Meet Me in the Sky. The music makes me feel like I'm cruising on the bright side of the moon. And then our random album was New Waves from 2017. This was my middle album. Of the 14 tracks, I thought 6 were great, but none of them got a flawless rating. My bottom track was Change the Story. The repetition just pisses me off because otherwise that would have been a great track. And my top track was Gravity. The music makes me feel like I'm watching a hologram of Bone Thugs appearing at a Dancy Club Stadium concert. This was a stranger ride than I thought was coming my way. What I'm ultimately coming away from this experience with is both appreciation of how good Bone's harmonic presence is, and disappointment for everything this group could be in their totality under the appropriate direction. I hadn't listened to the first two Art of War discs in quite some time, and as much as I love hearing these dudes rap, I found myself wishing for more in the way of brevity there. While DJ Unique does some stellar work with those instrumentals which rarely change melodies, the group does way too much starting songs with choruses and repeating them after each rapper throws down. I'd much prefer some of them paired up on bars between the choruses, and bridges are desperately needed, assuming the length of these tracks could have come down. Still, the double disc was my top album and has loads of tracks that almost hit that greatness bar. The way each member except Flesh gets his own track is pretty cool too. If you want to start a fight, by the way, just ask a crowd how many members there are in this group. Uni-5 felt more mainstream, but was a welcome return to form for the full beast that is Bone. The skits needed cut completely, these tracks really needed shortened, and some of the choruses needed more time in the oven. I also thought it strange to be thinking about a comparison of Bone Thugs alongside musical acts like Akon and Black Eyed Peas. But Wish truly shines here, increasing his speed in places to levels that match his peers. And Meet Me in the Sky is probably the best song to be had across all 3 discs. Additionally, the song Universe from this album does some vocal blending throughout that I wish was more common in Bone's music. Then we come to the New Waves LP. This thing's weird in a whole lot of ways. To quote the only professional review pointed to on Wikipedia, this ain't your daddy's bone. Unintentional innuendos aside, you're probably not ready for this. You'll see the album's almost exclusively down to Crazy and Busy and think shit's about to be a speed knot throwdown from the mouth of hell. Instead, you're in for a blend of T-Pain meets Tech 9 lyrics atop Weeknd meets Sia music. The last song even feels like something Ed Sheeran would write. It's a lot like when ICP takes a crack at brighter music, and nothing about the music itself is worth committing to memory. That being said, if you can learn to go with the flow, it's listenable from start to finish, not counting the repetitious refrains. How they ever got away with mostly cutting out the 3 family members of the group, going in the club pop direction, and somewhat fumbling a Jonathan Davis guest spot, I'll never know. But it does work more than it ought to. Do I long for a more concise return to their G-rap roots? Probably just as much as you. Yes. Speaking as someone who's been down a lot of the solo and side rabbit holes for BT&H though, these spins could have been awful, and I'm happy they're not. It's easy to see why folks might clown on Bone in their totality. Much like the Insane Clown Posse, they release a lot of B to Z side material most artists leave in the vault. But I also think music owes a lot more to this group's blend of barbershop quartet harmonizing with fast or fun-to-mouth raps than they've ever gotten credit for. In terms of doing what they do at their best, I think Crazy put it best. Never no competition. Please like or comment if you're still listening, and remember, you can send all kinds of feedback to rated_radio@yahoo.com. You can even see the majority of songs I rate by clicking join for free at patreon.com/ratedradio. Anyway, that's going to do it for now. Until next time, fill your world with music.